Hello, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. It's Wednesday, December 23rd. Thanks for choosing to be here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start off with news about another wrinkle in the long drawn out effort to get another stimulus package to Americans after the Democrat-led House and the Republican-led Senate finally came to an agreement on a $900 billion package. President Donald Trump is now suggesting that he might not sign that legislation. He tweeted out a video on Tuesday night calling it wasteful spending and suggesting, but not outright saying, that he might not sign the bill. And what he's calling for is for lawmakers to come up with a bigger direct payment to Americans. The president is calling for a $2,000 direct payment to most Americans instead of the $600 direct payment that the legislation would call for. Now, Democratic Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is on board with this. Today, she tweeted toward President Donald Trump, addressing him without tagging him, to sign the bill to keep the government open. We'll get to that in just a minute. She also urged Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to agree with the Democrats' unanimous consent request for $2,000 direct payments. And she says this can be done by noon on Christmas Eve. Now, mind you, the full bill hasn't even been presented to the president yet because it's still being written. It's a 5,000-page bill. But if President Donald Trump does not sign the bill, it is possible there might be enough support in Congress to override a veto. However, here's the other issue that is pressing at this point. Because lawmakers linked this relief bill to a funding measure, the government would shut down on December 29th if the president doesn't sign this bill and if it's not able to be overridden by a veto. Now, in an earlier tweet, Speaker of the House Pelosi said that Republicans had repeatedly withheld the information about what the president wanted for direct checks, not giving a number. And she said then at that point that the president has agreed to $2,000 and Democrats are ready to bring this to the floor by unanimous consent, and let's do it. That's what Pelosi said, and that is expected to be potentially put to a vote in the House today. So we'll be continuing to follow this. But the ramifications of this are potentially huge for Americans who are waiting on that money, because if the president holds strong on this and there's not enough support in Congress to override a veto and Senate Republicans don't get on board with the $2,000 payment, the president's efforts to get more money to Americans might end up in them getting no money until we see the next president take office, and then we'll have to start this whole process over again with a brand new makeup of the Congress and with who will then be President Joe Biden. So, of course, we'll be watching this very closely. Now, also yesterday, President Donald Trump issued 15 pardons yesterday, including an ex-campaign aide and his allies. The people who were pardoned yesterday included Republicans who were strong and early supporters of President Donald Trump. One of those, former Republican Representative Duncan Hunter of California. Now, Hunter was sentenced to 11 months in prison after pleading guilty to stealing campaign funds and spending the money on everything from outings with friends to his daughter's birthday party. Another person pardoned yesterday, Chris Collins of New York. Collins, the first member of Congress to endorse President Donald Trump, he was sentenced to 2 years and 2 months in federal prison after admitting he helped his son and others dodge $800,000 in stock market losses when he learned that a drug trial by a small pharmaceutical company had failed. Another person pardoned yesterday, a 2016 campaign official who has been entangled in the Russia election meddling probe. That is George Papadopoulos, his 2016 campaign advisor. And it was that conversation with Papadopoulos that helped trigger the Russia investigation that really overshadowed President Donald Trump's presidency for about 2 years. He also pardoned Alex van der Zwaan, a Dutch lawyer who was sentenced to 30 days in prison for lying to investigators during special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Other people who were part of the process yesterday, 4 former government contractors convicted in a 2007 massacre in Baghdad. These were Blackwater contractors. That massacre left more than a dozen Iraqi civilians dead and caused an international uproar over the use of private security guards in a war zone. Now, in addition to these pardons issued yesterday and clemency, last month President Donald Trump pardoned former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who pleaded guilty twice to lying to the FBI. Of course, then the Department of Justice decided not to pursue those charges even after he had pleaded guilty, but he's been given a pardon. And then months earlier, he commuted the sentence of his associate Roger Stone the day before he was to report to prison. Now, not on the list of people pardoned yet. Members of President Donald Trump's own family, which is something that's been a source of a lot of speculation, and also his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and the president himself, which there's a constitutional debate about whether or not the president is able to pardon himself. Of course, if he attempts to do that, then we will see that play out. But there are 4 weeks left for President Donald Trump in office until Joe Biden's inauguration on January 20th. So lots of time to see what moves the president will make through the rest of his presidency. Now let's take a look at the latest numbers for COVID-19 here in the state of Ohio. Here's what we've got from the Ohio Department of Health today. In the past 24 hours, cases are slightly up from yesterday. There have been 7,790 new COVID cases reported. And unfortunately, 109 Ohioans have been reported as having died related to COVID-19. That number is down a bit from yesterday. Our latest data on the positive test rate is 15.3% for the daily rate on Monday, and that brings the 7-day average to 14% from Monday. There have been 431 new hospitalizations in the last 24 hours, including 52 new ICU admissions. And the total number of people currently in the hospital is 4,694, with 1,131 of those people in the ICU right now. And the total number of hospital beds available at this time in Ohio is at 29%. That's up just slightly from yesterday. Now let's take a look at the national and the global numbers. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. The total number of U.S. cases is now at 18,325,434, and the total number of deaths is now at 324,496. So when we track these numbers in the afternoon each day, that's 3,632 new deaths between yesterday and today, and we are in the deadliest days of the pandemic and the deadliest days in U.S. history with these high numbers of reported deaths in these 24-hour periods. When we take a look at how we compare to the global numbers, the U.S. has about 4% of the global population, but we've got 23.4% of the global cases of COVID-19 and 18.8% of the global deaths related to COVID-19 right now. Globally, the total number of cases is now at 78,380,606, and the total number of deaths is now at 1,724,562. Now, here is an interesting update when it comes to treatment of COVID-19. There is a potential breakthrough happening. There are antibodies in breast milk that scientists are finding that are now being studied as a potential treatment for COVID-19. Researchers are now actively collecting breast milk from around the country in order to study this. Now, we have a story up on WKYC.com of a whole family who contracted COVID-19, except for the newborn nursing baby. This was a family in Maine, and the mother of that child is Brianna Tassetti. The baby's name is Jacob, and Brianna said that she believes that's the reason why he didn't get sick, because she was loving on him and kissing on him because that was her newborn. She said she had to hold her newborn, so there was definitely no physical distancing happening there, and in addition to the breastfeeding, but the baby did not get COVID-19. So experts are now saying that breast milk provides antibodies that give babies a healthy boost and protects them against many infections. Of course, they've been saying that for a long time, but these antibodies may also fight against COVID-19 infection if a baby is exposed. So, over the past several months, Brianna has been freezing 1 ounce samples of her breast milk, and she's hoping they'll be part of the first national study that may lead to a breakthrough treatment for COVID-19. Now, this is happening in New York. Dr. Rebecca Powell is an assistant professor of medicine at the Division of Infectious Diseases at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai in New York City. And Powell says the goal is to analyze thousands of different samples to really understand the response. Now, it is preferred that people submitting breast milk to the study have had COVID-19, and it's being funded by the National Institutes of Health. And so far, in 95% of the breast milk samples researchers have studied, COVID-19 specific antibodies have been discovered. Just incredible what the body can do. It really is. So we've got more information on that on WKYC.com. You can read about that. Now, a very sweet moment for the kid from Akron, LeBron James. He was surprised by students from his Akron I Promise school during the Los Angeles Lakers championship ring ceremony. So the NBA season is now underway again, and the Lakers kicked off their season yesterday, and that's where the players were presented with their championship rings. There couldn't be any fans in the stands, but they had virtual video tributes from family and loved ones for them. And James had a message from his family, but also a surprise appearance from students from his I Promise school in Akron. And in a video, they said, "Thank you for all that you do for our foundations, to keep up the hard work, and we are family." That video is absolutely adorable. We've got it linked on WKYC.com, so you'll want to check that out. And speaking of the NBA season kicking off, the Cleveland Cavaliers will start their season tonight, hosting the Charlotte Hornets in the 2020-2021 season opener. It's been 288 days, by the way, since the Cavs played in an NBA game, so they're definitely chomping at the bit to get back there on the court. That is tonight at 7 p.m. at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Now, it won't be a complete squad. All-star forward Kevin Love is expected to miss the opener due to a calf injury, and guard Kevin Porter Jr. will also be out due to a personal matter. But again, that game at 7 p.m. tonight. Sticking in the sports world, Cleveland Browns' Kevin Stefanski is now favored to win NFL Coach of the Year. Previously, he was in the top 3, but now, according to Bovada via Odds Shark, the betting odds show him as the favorite at plus 140. He's got a slight edge over Ron Rivera of the Washington football team, who is now betting at plus 150. And then the next closest is Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills, with steeper odds at plus 550. Our 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod has broken down those odds, and those are up on WKYC.com for a few more coaches if you want to take a look at that. And we end today with a very sweet story, also from the Cleveland Browns roster. Guard Wyatt Teller proposed to his girlfriend, now fiancée, on the field at FirstEnergy Stadium, and that is Carly Whiting. And Carly posted photos and videos of it on her Instagram page, and she said, "Yesterday was a dream." She was talking about Monday because she posted these on Tuesday. She said, "Yesterday was a dream. I love you, Wyatt Teller." So Teller, who's been with the Browns for 2 seasons, obviously had this plan in the works, because afterwards the stadium lit up with congratulations message for the couple. Teller, he's one of the NFL's best up-and-coming offensive linemen for the Browns, and Pro Football Focus has him ranked right now as the NFL's best offensive lineman. That's regardless of position. Now he has a new position to play, husband-to-be and soon-to-be husband to Carly Whiting. So congratulations to Wyatt and Carly. You love to see it. We've got her videos and photos linked on WKYC.com, so you can check that out. That's it for your 3 News Now update for Wednesday, December 23rd. I will see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in Clicking in Cleveland, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for more 3 News Now. Everyone, enjoy your afternoon, stay safe, and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.